Board says aye.
Okay, we're not doing
What are we not doing?
video, right?
Yes. We're
You guys
watching
wanna
you
do
drink the
video?
tea right
Recording
now.
video.
We are
I mean, because we weren't, what's his name? But
No, we're not recording
because it
video.
doesn't make any difference to me.
We're not recording video. This is an audio only. If it was video, I wouldn't be on Facebook Messenger.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, 5, 4, 3.
Well, I was just verifying.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Common Grounds. I am Chris. I am joined by Serenity and Colin. I would give normally a more appropriate introduction, but guys, we got to jump straight into it because the world's a mess. For those, which would be pretty much anybody that's voted for Joe Biden as president because they're in a cemetery somewhere. Civil unrest ripped out in D.C. yesterday during the counting of the electoral college votes to pretty much cement and solidify Joe Biden as president. We're going to dig right into it, but first and foremost, both you guys, I'll get us started off. Have you been keeping up on the events? Do you know what's been going on so far? Serenity, Colin, doesn't matter who goes first.
I know what I've been seeing on Facebook. Everybody's been posting all kinds of stuff on Facebook. I'm not sure what to believe or what not to believe. There's stories, posts about, oh, there was violence there. No, there was no violence. And there's conjecture on that. It's the whole thing's all confusing. And it's like, I can understand protesting. We're allowed to do that. But I don't understand why they're calling this riots.
Well, I think that's
Well,
one of the
they're
things.
calling it riots, and furthermore, they've even called it. So there's been a lot of words that they used. I am not on social media, and so I've been snooping on mainstream media platforms and hearing their spin of it, but then I have my own brain and my own eyes. So, yeah, I know it's been going down.
Same here. I've been keeping up on both the mainstream media as well as reactions on social medias, whether it's like watching one of the live video feeds on YouTube and watching the or Facebook video and watching the chat room and what people say on that, or if it's just simply posts that wind up showing up on my news feed, from people of both sides of the aisle and all, and quite honestly, you people, and I'm not speaking to my panel, I'm speaking to you, the listener, most of you are fucking idiots. I just got to be honest. You're fucking easily led sheeple. You buy anything, any bullshit that is set in front of you, and it's absolutely disgusting and ridiculous. Don't mean everybody. I don't mean everybody that's listening right now. I'm sure some of you may have a brain in your head, but any of them that want to just accept what something like Rachel Maddow says as absolute gospel truth, reported on CNN as absolute gospel truth, you're a moron. You need a cassette tape playing the words "breathe in, breathe out" to survive in society because you don't even know how to do the most functional thing like think for yourself. You're fucking morons. On the end of the coin, to my right-wing brothers and sisters, the people that want to be, oh yeah, bring the revolution, blah, 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 yeah. You're fucking morons too. Okay? This shit is not the start of the Civil War, although I will admit, when I heard that woman was shot and killed, my first thought was, here's the shot heard round the world. Here we go again. I really thought that was going to be the catalyst.
Right.
Till later you find out that it was a goddamn cop.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Yeah, I thought it was going to be the start of some kind of crazy, huge rioting, SWAT team stuff all over Washington too. I was like, what the hell's going on out there? Headlines or posts on that issue for a while. So I don't know, but the whole thing's confusing. It's like, what do we believe? Do we believe it was the Republican or was it the Democrats responsible for it? Or are they doing one of those things that they fake us out, like watch this and don't pay attention to what's going on back here? I mean, is it just distraction? I mean,
what if they're doing it for survival? What if Trump jeopardizes the Democratic or Republican Party. Therefore, it was like a setup. Like, okay, he's bringing all these people here, so this is what we should do. And then we trapped him into an insurrection or riots or protesters, whatever you want to call it. But it seems more of a setup in my eyes for them to get Trump out of power, make it where he's not respected, and in 4 years he will not be rerunning. And so the Democratic and the Republican Party have their parties back. Who both sides have their own agendas and they have their own views on what we're going to do in the next 1 to 20 years. So I think it's more agenda based
Well,
than anything else.
that's where I think there was professional protesters and extreme left homeland terrorists known as Antifa and BLM that actually started the quote unquote riot that happened. And I base that on the fact that I've seen the photos and the footage of what's going on and stuff like that. And there's no self respecting conservatives that would dress up in a shaman's wolf outfit with brick tattoos on their arms and the hammer and sickle on their hand of the Soviet Union. No self-respecting conservative would do that. No self-respecting revolutionist would sit with his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk in her office to pose for selfie pictures. This was absolutely a farce, and I will explain why it was a farce more than even what I just suggested. It's because it was meant to disrupt the vote on contesting the Electoral College findings as of naming Joe Biden as President of the United States. Why would you interrupt it? We had enough against it to get an audit to the system in Arizona. Why would Trump or Trump supporters want to interrupt that? Because what happened afterwards, after everything was settled and everything, and they reconvened, what happened? All the conservatives that were supposed to, oppose the appointment, all of a sudden changed their tune. How many of them that were adamant about...
That's why I'm saying that it was a planned situation.
It was.
I know, but they got the easy way out to stay with their parties. They all got an easy way out where they wouldn't go down with the Trump vote, because they've been setting this up for at least 3 years, where it's like, okay, we're going to let Trump kind of do what he wants to do, but like we're still going to make him out to be where he's crazy. So that way, when the election does come, we could stir up the pot. We can make something fly somewhere. So this is their last fly. And if they get him out of office, then their agenda wins. And I think that's what this was about, look at how strong we are without Trump. Look at, Pence stepping in and taking over basically presidential commands, and they won't even let Trump talk. They shut him down.
Oh, absolutely.
And he is our president.
Hey, look, I'm not here to defend Trump. I'm not. As a matter of fact, as far as his rally is concerned, part of this is absolutely his fault. He riled that crowd up. He made it easy for Antifa and BLM and the extreme left to get this win. He absolutely did. And then when he had an opportunity to tell his supporters, no, we don't do that, he went running and hiding instead of stepping up and saying, stop. Until he didn't say shit until after the situation became under control again. And that's when he was like, oh, no, this is just as much your fault.
See, I don't believe that it was Antifa and BLM at all. I think that this was just what I like to call Trumpers. People that have a radical that he could get to support him and do as he pleases. And then I think some of them are crisis actors. I do think that they were shipped in, just like in the 60s during the protests. They would go around and they would recruit people, put them on a bus, drive across the country, pay them, and they would be the protesters. Well, who's to say they didn't do that here? We're not communicating 6 foot of distance. We're not really talking to each other. So how do we know that this wasn't really a paid protest?
It was absolutely a paid protest. I don't necessarily agree that it was as you called them, Trumpers. I think they're just as much as fault, but I think the antagonists behind it were plants by Antifa. I know I keep throwing Antifa and BLM together because to me they are together, but it was Antifa. It was Antifa putting people in the crowd acting like Trump supporters to help get in the ears of the people that were already hyped up by Trump's speech. And, you know, to be honest, because as a conservative, I agree. We've been spending the last 4 years getting shat on, told we're racist and backwater and everything else by the left. We've been told by leaders in our community like Maxine Waters and AOC and Iliad Omar, their supporters, to get in our faces and shout us down and treat us as subhuman people simply because we agree with the Green New Deal or we don't agree that BLM is peaceful protests, you know, or that police are racist and automatically killing black people because we don't agree with that. 120,000%. We were treated as sub creatures for 4 fucking years. So yes, I do agree that Trumpers let Antifa or the plants or the professional protesters into their ear to get that blood boiling that much more. But you have to understand the powder keg that was there. Match into a full powder keg is going to make it blow up just as much as lighting a fuse from far away.
Okay, the president and CEO of Black Lives Matters came on the news today and said it's not fair the way that these protesters were treated so much better than his protesters.
Really?
So BLM is upset because
white people, they made it about race. Because white
I
people.
guess they think that, I guess that they said that the protests that happened at the Capitol yesterday were treated better, although they were just as big of a risk. And if they would have been black, they would have been treated much more harshly.
Right.
But I have seen tons of video of people getting hit with batons and people getting punched by the police. I mean, what they're putting out there isn't the whole thing because there was a lot of brutality.
There was.
That happened.
There was, and here's another thing for you too. Let's think back a couple months to the last, like here in Philadelphia, which I watched with my own eyes as you tore apart black neighborhoods, you attacked yourselves, you destroyed black-owned businesses and everything else, and the police were ordered to stand down. You had zero opposition, complete and utter hypocrisy, complete and utter bullshit. You people, you people within Antifa trying to make this out to be a fucking thing proves that you guys are the absolute racists in this group, because I will sit here, you assholes did during the protests and during the supposed cop killing rash that was going on was just as bad as the bullshit that just happened yesterday at Capital City. The only indifference I will give it is at least the people who attacked the Capitol only broke one fucking window. They did not destroy, loot, and steal. They didn't go get the new PS5 and Nikes out of fucking stores and then torch the store afterwards because insurance will pay for it. Fuck you. The only difference between the two is they didn't use the tragedy to further their own ends like you assholes do. That is the biggest thing that has pissed me off to this end, is the fact that people want to sit there on the left, the Antifas, the BLMs, all the people. It's like how bad this is, how tragic this is, but we're fucking silent when people were getting beaten with bike chains and having fucking concrete milkshakes thrown on them simply because they were white or fucking red hat. And punched in the head at McDonald's, burning down Wendy's, tearing apart Walmarts and Targets and blowing up people's cars was peaceful protest. But assholes who were tired of being treated like shit for 4 fucking years, stepping up and breaking one window in a building that technically is owned by the taxpayers. Yeah, that's the hit. That's the tragedy. Fuck you and your hippie. I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to get that out of my chest.
There's a major difference there. Huge difference. Yeah, but there's a huge difference in their behavior there. I mean, so that you would expect one group to be treated one way and the other group to be treated differently. I mean, you break one window, that's a lot different than burning down people's businesses and, like shooting cars and blowing up buildings and crap.
Whoa. Okay, so I think that we have to remember who was in the building. Why wouldn't they have more security when there's that many top officials in a building? And I do believe that it doesn't play to anyone's gain if they would have had big, military or police around there and not let the protesters in that were trying to get in. So it would have just been manpower. They wouldn't have been able to get in, and that wouldn't have accomplished anything. So, I mean, I don't think that they came out in force. Enough proof there. They knew this was going to happen, whether it be, QAnon, whether it be whatever. It doesn't matter who was rushing on the building. If they can declare that the Super Bowl is emergency and they bring military in and they have surveillance and they keep everything under control for the Super Bowl, why can't they do it when we declare who we elect president? They should have had that shit locked down. They should have had it locked down for a mile.
There's no way they should have gotten to
I
the
agree.
building. They should have been stopped at the barrier. They should never have made it to the building. Now, understand, it is a public building. You, as a person, can technically go into the Capitol building unimpeded on a normal day. But here's the deal. These rioters, these protesters, whatever, got through one window and into the building itself, while the Vice President of the United States and the Congressional Senate were in session. How can you tell me security, the snipers on the roof, the fucking cops that were barricading all the outside barricades couldn't stop these people, even with tear gas or otherwise? You know why? I will tell you why. Because they opened the barrier and got the fuck out of the way. They knew it was coming.
They allowed it to happen, but what would have been the agenda behind it is where I come in, because
to disrupt.
I don't support Trump.
I know.
I don't support Biden. No, I'm just saying, like, a person, but at the same time, I see where people don't do something unless there's a reason to do it.
I will tell you the reason. I'll give you exactly the reason.
What would be the reason?
I will give you the exact reason. One, they wanted to paint conservatives and especially Trump supporters as deranged and unhinged. They got that out of the riot itself, out of the protesters attacking the building. Two, they wanted the session to be interrupted. They wanted to scare the people that were objecting to the electoral college votes. They wanted to have voting objections to it, and that's exactly what the fuck they got. People that were ready to vote no on the electoral college all of a sudden voted yes when it reconvened. So that was the 2-point session. They wanted to stop.
I have to say.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, they definitely chose the time and the place that they wanted. They wanted to disrupt this going on, this particular meeting of the minds. They wanted to interrupt this procedure to make a point,
right?
Obviously, but this is scary. It's kind of a two-edged sword here. Now, our government and our officials and everybody is going to be like, oh no, we don't want to lock down like everything. We're locking down everything as it is. We don't want to seem like we're tyrants in government or something, and lock down all the government buildings as well, like, and then be super like crazy about, oh no, we're just going to shoot people that are coming to the Capitol because they're upset and they're protesting. They can't do that because they're lethal force for no reason, if just cause.
Off is unhinged.
To me, I see that
Okay.
as a scary thing, but at the same time, it's like these other people that were protesting are also taking it into their hands, say, hey, eventually the people are going to have enough of this shit. We're going to show up with pitchforks and fucking torches and burn this bitch to the ground. I mean, they will. People will. If they get pissed enough, they really will. And that was like, I think part of it was sending that message as well, even if nobody's really talking about that.
No, you're absolutely
okay. So let's go back to this chick who got shot. Okay. So if you watch the video, the man firing the gun shoots the gun and discharges 3+ rounds, let's say. All right. And you see him, pa-boom, pa-boom, pa-boom. What kind of army veteran or veteran of war would see some of them shooting that gun and still go through the window? And I see the person, you might say that she was pushed in there. No, I watched her hands and her pulling herself through the window as this man was shooting. So it kind of brings in the whole crisis actor thing for me. And I have to say, it's conspiracy, it's agenda based. I mean, it's reality. It did happen, but it happened as a play for the masses. And it happened to corral people into whatever train of thought they have, whether it be this side or that side. It's to make you stand up for a side. And Biden said it today. He said, right now is the time for everyone to stand up. So whatever side you're on, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to make you stand up for your sides.
I agree with you up until the crisis actor, and the only reason I kind of don't agree with the crisis actor, because a crisis actor is a professional actor. They're somebody who's there to push the narrative and get people on influence on their side. I don't see a professional actor saying that's enough money for me to take a bullet and die. Now,
I don't think she's dead.
she's dead. They declared her dead. She's dead. She's gone.
Okay, so the media says that somebody is dead. Okay, so that chick from the 70s show, she was just declared dead and
Yeah.
she was still alive.
And then she died again. Yeah.
So you can't tell me just because people say on the news or on social media that she died, what is to say that she didn't get a military sort of upgrade? You know, like her job was working for the military. So who's to say that she didn't get restationed into the country of her dreams, in the position of her dreams?
She got sent to Siberia. That's her new station in life.
Whatever she wants, man. I mean,
I'll be fair enough on that, but
Take a bullet and
I don't think in this scenario or in this case they would pull the fake death thing going on. But you know what, stranger shit's been going on. I'm not going to sit there and say it's impossible. Unrelated, we were talking about. You had mentioned the lady from that '70s show. It's reported today that for those that remember the movie Police Academy, you remember the little black girl Hooks. Don't move, dirtbag. She died today.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Unrelated to what we're discussing. I just thought we would bring it up.
Let me.
Well, hopefully it wasn't COVID. They probably counted as COVID.
Yeah, it was probably COVID.
COVID related.
COVID related.
Right.
That bullet that killed in the Capitol was COVID. You know, that was COVID related.
Okay, so it says that 4 people were injured in this Capitol attack. One of them is the woman that we were just talking about. And then the other 3 are 2 men in their 50s and 1 woman in her 30s. And they died of separate medical emergencies. What is that in English?
COVID.
COVID related?
It's COVID related. They died of COVID-19. You know, either you could either go the rational way or the way it looks from the world right now way. The rational way would be, okay, you mentioned 2 of them especially were in their mid-50s for rounding up. So that could be any piece. They could be diabetic. One could have been fucking like a heart failure or something like that. The 30-year-old leads a little bit more. Yeah, the 30-year-old could have been a little bit, puts a little more in question because normally 30-year-olds are a little healthier, but it's not unheard of. I mean, I've got a friend who's just now turning 40, diagnosed 5 years ago with MS. So, I mean, like, medical related, that's such a generic term, but there is rational explanations for them. On the
well, yeah, I didn't quit drinking.
Like one chick had a seizure because she was looking at all these sirens and cops, protesters' flags.
Right.
So she had a seizure, and they didn't get the medical attention they needed because of the protesters, insurrectionists, or rioters, or whatever. They didn't get the medical attention they needed. Like, that's what it sounds to me.
Yeah, but anybody could be there and have a seizure. That could happen at any time in any aspect of life. I mean, it could happen at a concert. It could happen, you know, in a restaurant. It could happen anywhere.
Well, again, let's.
Well, I'm just giving an example in that, I mean, they weren't shot. They weren't beat to death. I mean, it was separate medical emergencies. So that
that we
obviously
know
says
of.
that due to the protesters, they weren't able to get them the medical help they needed. Is that what they're saying?
Essentially, yeah.
Probably.
Either that or weren't able to
Probably
get to
they're
them in
doing the
time.
finger. Take the finger at the bad protesters now. Just you bad protesters, you got in the way of the ambulance. That's what they're
But
doing.
nobody's talking about that. They're just saying that it was and that, this happened and that happened, but they got on with it. They went back and they stayed there until the wee hours in the morning and they declared Biden the winner. And then today they come out and they say, we want Amendment 25. And a few Republicans support that and a bunch of Democrats support it. Pence obviously hasn't really spoken about it, but he would be the one that would need to. And I mean, if they invoke the 25th Amendment
It'd be
with
stupid.
13 days left,
It'd be
I mean,
stupid.
doesn't that just kill any future that he would have?
By the way, there will never
And that's
be a
kind of
Trump in office again. After yesterday, the name Trump will never get into politics again. Just consider him blacklisted. Nobody will ever vote for Eric Trump or Donald Jr. or Barron Trump. Maybe Ivanka because she's pretty, but I mean beyond that, nobody's ever going to vote for Trump into office.
Melania.
Or Melania. But the fact of the matter is that if they push for the 20th Amendment 13 days before Trump's leaving office anyway, it is a waste of time and taxpayers' dollars. Because he's gone in 13 fucking days. You got your wish. He did not win the election. He can't. He can't get his way out of this now. So just wait for January 20th. Swear in your fucking brain dead grandfather who pisses himself and sniffs children. We'll get rid of him in a year, and Kamala Harris will turn around and turn us into a communist country. Anyway, that is the plan. That is the goal. You got your wish. Leave the man alone for 13 fucking days. You won. Leave him alone.
He got by
Okay, but the media.
That's kind of like shoving him out on his way out. I mean, what's the point?
The media says that he's the most powerful man in the world, and he could do a lot of terrible things in the next 13 days, including like nuclear war or anything. So the media is really pushing for him to be out of power and for Pence to turn the keys over to the Biden administration.
Yeah, because that's so much safer in his hands. The guy can't pull his dick out of his pants without pissing himself, but we're supposed to trust him with the nuclear codes.
Who says he's going to get it? The agenda is going to get it. He probably won't have any real power.
No, he's a puppet. He's an absolute idiot puppet, and the only thing stupider than Joe Biden is his supporters, who actually believe that Joe Biden is worth the shit. He ain't never done anything in Congress in 14 years, including the 8 years as vice president under the biggest disappointment in presidential history, Barack Obama. Yes, I fucking said it. And now they think he's...
What if it's more like a red pill, blue pill thing? Like the Matrix. If you take one pill... one pill, you're completely in that reality of that one. And when you take the other one, you're in that reality. Okay? I think that both parties, like the Biden supporters, really do think that he is a good guy.
Those people have questionable morals. I will say it straight out. Those people have questionable morals. The people who support you think that black people deserve reparations for what white people supposedly did to their ancestors generations ago. The people who support Joe Biden are the people who belong in women's battles. The people who support Joe Biden believe that government should be taking care of all things so you don't have to. The people who support Joe Biden...
I don't think that's the way it is whatsoever.
Prove me wrong.
I don't.
Every supporter of Biden I've ever seen falls for the same things. They want They want equality for all. They want free health care. They want all the socialist constructs. They want the police defunded and replaced with social workers, because sitting down and talking works better than somebody who can protect you. I want us in a world economic government, one world.
Maybe they just want to feel safe.
Then this is the exact wrong way to do it. I don't feel safe with if I've got a guy with a gun to my head and I have a social worker instead of a police officer sharpshooter. I don't feel safe having my economics in the hands of people who can't even take care of their own country's economics, like the world, you know, the United Nations. That's the word I was looking for. The United Nations, or God forbid, in the hands of people like the fucking Middle Easterners who can't control their own economic governments, whether off having a say in ours. No, you do not. It is not a God. You do not have the right to take from me when I work my ass off because you don't want to work. That's not the way life works. These supporters, why they voted for Joe Biden, because President Trump, and many like him before President Trump, have always stated, you want something, go out and earn it. I get what you're saying. You're absolutely right. Supporters of Joe Biden believe Joe Biden's a good guy. They believe that they're the good guys. But in reality, they're the lazy, lowest common denominator. It's the God's honest truth.
That's one opinion.
All right, well, from a totally different angle. I mean, they're going to give us whatever president they want to. Doesn't matter if they voted him in, or they swindled the votes, or they rocked the vote, or they just rigged the vote. It doesn't really matter, because if they want a certain person in office, they're going to put him up there as a puppet, and they're going to play it out like he won, and they're going to give us what they want. Mm-hmm. We don't have any control over that. I wish we did. I wish I could say it was an honest system and it worked, and they were all on the up and up, but I can't buy into it. For one, okay, the popular vote doesn't mean shit, because the Electoral College makes the decision anyways. It's nice that they give us this idea that maybe we have a say, but we really don't. We're under their control, and therefore they're going to put whatever puppets they want in front of us. Now, my thoughts, is this some type of a setup where it's Illuminati influenced, where they set this whole thing up to look like this rioting type activity, so that way it's just one more nail in the coffin when they decided to declare martial law and lock us all down and then take total control and all of our freedoms away from us? Is that part of their agenda? Is this something that's foreshadowing? Because
I definitely believe that the agenda is the deep state, the New World Order, the Illuminati, the elitists, whatever you want to call them.
Just read George.
Yeah.
Just
this
read
is all their
1984.
plan.
Yeah, just read 1984. That's where we're heading, and that was always the plan. I absolutely agree with that. The only thing I will defend is the Electoral College, Colin, and the only reason I will is because I know what it stands for, what it's supposed to stand for. The popular vote cannot be the only way people can vote, because then we would only get two states would have a say, and that's it. Everybody else would get swallowed up, because nobody in the United States can compare to the vote numbers that would come out of New York and out of California. That's why the Electoral College exists.
Right.
So places that are more sparsely populated, like Wyoming, for example, or Kansas, can have a voice. Otherwise, their voice would be completely swallowed up by the bigger metropolises of the United States. That's why the Electoral College is important.
And it makes sense. I mean, you can't just go on the popular vote, because then, somebody could say, "Look at me, I'm really popular," and no, I'm going to be the president.
Well, let's remember,
it could be totally
Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Okay, let's just remember that.
Right, but she didn't end up in office because the Electoral College didn't go with it. But that's okay, because the states have to have a certain amount of representation. I mean, that's the way our country was founded. And so it should be split up like that. You can't have all the votes coming out of New York and then Arkansas had 5 votes. I mean, you got to have some way to even it out.
Right.
But the whole thing is, I see an underlying. I see things that okay, they're trying to incite fear. We have to protect our capitals and our state buildings and all the public places now, even more hardcore. It's like, no, you don't. These people exercising their rights and they got a little carried away. And for them not to like freak out and bring in the National Guard to start blasting the hell out of people was probably a good choice. Because then that would probably start, a civil war in this country, which we don't need. We may end up going there anyhow at some point. We don't need that. I think that we can solve what we've got going on in our country as human beings, as civilized human beings. But I still don't think it's fair that all these politicians got all their paychecks for the last 9 months without any interruption or any suffrage at all. But they're making it and has to work for a living, who can't go to work because of pandemic situations in their areas, and they're making them wait 9 months. They're like, oh, thanks for the $1,200 9 months ago, and now they're like Pawn Stars. Like $600 is the best we could do. You know, it's just like, are you kidding me? What kind of a joke is that? I'm surprised there aren't people out there with pitchforks and torches on the steps of the Capitol, like ready to tar and feather people. I mean, that's what some people may want to spend their $600 on. And
Well, you did see Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi's houses both got hit up
Mm-hmm.
because of declining the 2K. I mean, like, people are getting pissed off and people are letting them know who they're pissed off about. I mean, I'm not on social media, but I keep hearing that these people's addresses are being posted on social media. So that's how they found Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and all that, is because the information's being shared.
if
I
I saw pictures on Facebook of protesters,
Ah,
I tell you what, I would like it.
no, this is crazy. Okay, so we're not allowed to talk to people because we're on and we have to stay 6 feet away and this and this and this and this. But then everyone's allowed to talk on social media and it's very widespread. Like it, share it, algorithms, everyone sees it, all this crap. And, the more stuff they do, the more that people are on social media where they could monitor everything we say and therefore know everything we think in order to control us in the long run. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on social media, so they can't listen to me. They don't know what I'm thinking. And my best friend lives 7 houses away. So they don't know what I'm doing. When I go out front, I leave my phone inside. I mean, come on. I know I'm being listened to, and I could tell that my algorithm changes if I go online. I mean, like, seriously, I could speak about ET and pick up my phone and I'll have some weird update about the new ET movie postponed due to COVID-19. I mean, what?
Right.
They're making it where we can't talk to each other, and where we can communicate and where we feel free to communicate, they monitor, they know, they see, therefore they can control the headlines that they show us.
Well, I hope they
Big brother.
I hope they really enjoy when I social media, because 9 times out of 10 when I'm social media, I'm sitting on a fucking toilet. So enjoy that. Enjoy. I hope watching. I hope you're listening. I hope you know what. I hope you fucking have a way of smelling it. Enjoy that shit. Because when I mainly social
I'm
media, that's what I'm doing.
Oh man, I'm totally gonna leave my telephone in the bathroom from here on out. Just for fun. Just in case they're listening. I mean, come on.
I hope
What's the worst that could happen?
I hope they thoroughly enjoy it. But no, the jokes aside, though, I definitely think you're right. And I do think that's part of the reason why they keep us locked down and away from each other, because they want us to use things like right now to record this. And I know they're silencing conservative views. I know they're silencing it when they shut down. The first thing they did after this shit was shut down Trump's ability to fucking say anything on it. Facebook indefinitely on Trump. Twitter keeps putting him on a 24-hour ban day after day. They're probably going to up this, But I've seen it myself with people I followed and stuff like that. Their content doesn't fall in line with the status quo of Silicon Valley. All of a sudden, you can't find their content, or they've been monetized, or whatever the case may be, as long as it's political point of view to the right. The left, people like the Young Turks, they can call for fucking Trump's assassination, blatantly offer like $20,000 for somebody to put a bullet in Trump's head, and Silicon Valley will not censor it.
All right. On a side note on that subject, What are your thoughts about our content that was lost there last week? Um, considering the content,
That
wasn't that interesting?
that I would call to be human error. I think I fucked up somewhere. That was on me. But yes, it was very much interesting that it happened.
Yeah,
We'll have to talk about that later. But I do believe that they want to hear everyone's voice as long as the voices that people are seeing are all sticking with what the agenda
Yeah, the
that
narrative.
they're feeding us is saying.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I've watched Fox, I've watched MSN, I've watched the financial channels and their news shows. So I've seen the gambit of what they're trying to say happened. And yeah, they're all very different. I mean, you see someone like the video I sent both of you guys where the host is obviously very opinionated and not reporting on anything besides what they support.
Right,
And then there's
Rachel
another
Maddow
person
of
who's just
NBC. Yeah,
going,
Rachel Maddow. You're
yeah,
talking about the NBC reporter, which I turned around and I called her straight up a
yeah,
cunt. You know what? I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you, to the ones that are listening. When this episode releases, I'm challenging you. I'm the one that's gonna fucking say, "Come at me, come get me," because you're never gonna fucking silence me. I'm not playing your game, and I'm sure shit not buying into your agenda. Come at me. But you're absolutely right. There are people that just, news reporters are supposed to be unbiased. This is not a show. I don't have to be unbiased. But when you're a reporter for NBC, you fucking dumb twat, do not feed your political points of view. Do not feed your narrative within the goddamn interview. Report the facts and shut the
right.
fuck up.
The news. Yeah, just the facts, man. Just the facts.
well, I think that we've lost that in the last 2 to 10 years. I think that media has been moving towards an agenda based platform for a long time. But I mean, who does anything without an agenda?
Well, I was
When
about
I
to
go into
say.
the bathroom, I have an agenda. When I walk out my front door, I have an agenda. So we are not people made to do something without an agenda. The point of it is, where is this agenda? What is it doing? And where does it go? I mean, like,
No, you're
what?
absolutely right. But I the only thing I agree with you 100% that I think this has been going on longer than 10 years. I think just now, and I'm going to piss a whole lot of people off. Thanks, Donald Trump, who brought it to the forefront. We've been lied to by the media at minimum since 9/11. Since 9/11, if not that much farther back, we've been getting biased news reporting for the longest time. We just never noticed it until now.
Go further back because there's the Roswell conspiracy, US UFO sightings, there's meteors that come close to Earth. I mean, like, they only report on what they want us to see because why else would they talk about it unless they wanted other people to agree with them?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They only let us hear what they want us to hear. They only let us communicate what they want to allow us to communicate about. If something gets too out of hand and people get too popular with one thing, oh, that's like, oh, everybody pay attention to this all of a sudden. Forget about that thing you were talking about. It's their common thing that they do to us all the time, and people are just foolish enough to fall for it because it's just psychological ploys. They're playing these games because they know how to manipulate us. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. It's starting with really
Romans, go back to the Romans.
right the
I
religious
mean,
systems. So that's where they get
they
it. Power trip. It's
and they were even pedophiles, gay, everything in public, but nobody could hold it against them. You were a slave and you did that, you'd be, killed. You'd be fed to the lions. I
Uh-huh.
mean, there was definitely a separatist attitude where people were above the laws. Now that the media is discussing Donald Trump speaking of, uh, I guess, letting himself be pardoned and pardoning himself for any federal. Obviously, this is only federally.
Right.
Believe that that's even something he's thinking about is saving his own ass?
Oh, of
Or
course.
do you think that this is just the media saying, this is one more thing he's going to break the power? Because if he impeaches himself, that would be the worst abuse of power. Like abuse of power times 10. Like that is treasonous. In my book, that man should be drawn and quartered if he tries
Well,
to impeach himself. I mean,
I'll answer
come
your
on.
question. I think it's both.
Or,
I think it's both. I think Donald Trump probably put out a hypothetical question. Maybe he was thinking about ways of covering his own ass if things went wrong. Maybe he was thinking about ways of protecting Melania and everybody else if things went wrong. I don't know. I wasn't in there for the full conversation. However, as in typical fashion of the mainstream media, it was taken completely out of context. It was edited up and then presented as he is literally looking to create treason by pardoning his own self from his own impeachment hearings or whatever else. And of course, then
remember,
the sheeple ate up into it. Oh yes, MPC, you told us what we need to think. So everybody now thinks, yeah, that's exactly what Trump is doing. I don't think that's the case. And I base that on the fact that how many times we've been reported that Trump said this, or Trump did that, or Trump said this, and Trump did that. And then a month later, usually by some YouTube podcaster, the full story comes out and it shows that no, Trump didn't say this or do that. You took clips of a conversation and edited it to fit, taking the exact context of the conversation, showing that he was not ever doing that. The same argument, the best way I could describe it, is for 4 years, everybody kept saying Trump refuses to denounce white supremacy. He did it on 7 separate occasions, but nobody ever played the audio clip.
okay,
Yeah.
but still, with the whole pardoning yourself, like we need to look back at history and look at like Watergate and Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
Nixon left office and his vice president pardoned him. So do you think that maybe the situation is going to unfold where Donald Trump ends up being impeached, or the 25th Amendment, sorry, not impeachment, 25th Amendment, and then Pence takes over and actually pardons Trump? Because
Sure.
if Trump himself, it's immediate impeachment.
I don't
Like
I don't
that is
think
abuse of power.
you're absolutely right. I don't think that Trump is going to be able to pardon himself. I think it's exactly what you just said, the same way as with Nixon. Pence will be put in charge, whether it's the 25th Amendment or otherwise, and then will automatically pardon him. I think Trump even asking questions about it was him weighing options.
That's what I do believe that it was just him talking, because it was reported on weeks ago,
Mhm.
but they didn't make it a newscast until this happened. I mean, he said it weeks ago.
Well, that's it. And
Well, we were
again,
talking about very
go ahead.
wealthy, powerful people. I mean, for Trump could have paid off Biden to pardon him after the fact.
Oh,
They're not going to tell us anything in details of this kind of shit.
oh,
I
and
mean,
tr-
it's just all really conjecture. But
and
there are possibilities to this stuff.
and anybody who believes that Biden wouldn't take that paycheck, Biden would sell your mother
Money,
for a
I don't think
Klondike bar.
money,
Biden's not going to have
money.
enough control. I mean, like, he's not going to have the power to pardon anyone. I think that it's all going to come down to law.
And she just as bad. She will sell your mother for a Klondike bar. These people, it's
I'm
nothing
just
but
saying.
it's not. These people are nothing but the dollar sign. They don't give two shits about
guess-
people or the people's opinions. They're in power now. They don't care.
Well,
They
Kamala
own,
might.
they own the House. They own the
What
Senate.
up, Kamala? Colin?
Kamala might pardon him, depending if he tries to grab her.
She does like people. I said he. Sorry. She does like people that sniff other people.
I think you had
Well,
it
there
right
you
the
go.
first.
Then Trump could grab her.
Yeah, I think you got it right the first time. He likes people. That's right. I fucking said it. I don't care. She's a racist bitch and should never wear in any form of government.
Wow. You
I said
are
it straight
on
out.
fire right now. Have you been drinking?
No, I have not. I'm completely fucking sober. It's just I've been sitting. I've been sitting on the sidelines, playing the unbiased. I'll be fair about this. I'll be fair about that. This is a hostile takeover. The Democratic Party now controls the Senate, Congress, the House, and the office of the United States of America, the President of the United States of America. They could turn us into a communist country by February 14th. Which is exactly what the fuck they want. When you have people like Kamala Harris, Omar, AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Bernie fucking Sanders, all known socialists wanting a communist regime in fucking power, and you take a look at everything that has put this in place, and you tell me this isn't the plan of theirs from the get-go, that everything wasn't in their control, the puppet masters pulling the strings. Yeah, I am angry about it. I am pissed off about it. Am I pissed off enough to fucking turn around and charge the Capitol building? Of course not. Am I pissed off at the fact that people are easily led to believe that this isn't exactly what the fuck just happened? Yeah, I am. I haven't been drinking. I haven't been smoking any drugs or anything else. This is just simply, I do not understand how intelligent human beings can look at this shit and not see the pattern. Not see it there. It's right fucking in front. They're not even hiding it. They're really not even hiding it. And you people applaud them like they're doing something fucking great. And I don't mean you people like you and Colin. I mean, again, the people listening. You follow what's going on. You see the agenda.
Listening, let me just say this really quick, okay? I've known both you guys for a long time. And Chris looks super pissed off. Like, he is serious about what he is saying. Serious about what he's saying. And Colin, being the calm guy that he is just like Tommy Chong over there. He's got the goatee and he's relaxed and he's not worried about it. I mean, I gotta say, you guys look like opposite side of the fencers here. I can't see it, but I had to tell them. You guys rock. Seriously.
He's not here.
It's hard. It's hard. I will admit, it's hard to remain upset and not crack a joke or whatever, because as I'm ranting and raving, I look down on my camera and I see Colin just nodding. He's just nodding. And I don't know if he's nodding because he likes the cadence of how I'm laying the smack down, or if he's nodding if he's agreeing with me, or he's nodding because the shit just kicked in and it's, oh wow, But however it goes,
I can't even. There's music playing in the background. I'm just bobbing my head.
Yeah, I hear that. It's that song by the Beatles, "The Fool on the Hill."
There you go.
Totally got to listen to it. It plays 100% to what is going on in the world. And how long was it written? I mean, it's about a man alone on a hill, standing perfectly still with 1,000 voices around him. I mean, like, seriously, you got to listen to that song.
No,
it should be Trump's anthem.
I will say this much, as a closing statement, if you will. The biggest thing I'm disappointed in is not the Democratic Party. It's not the Republican Party. It's not even the agenda. What I'm most disappointed in is when the worst comes to pass. America, this is our fault. Plain and simple. Instead of looking at what government has been doing, both sides of the aisle has been doing for the longest time and putting a stop to it, or for us, we don't work for them. Why have we not cleared house and started from scratch? All of these things, to me, means that everything that's coming from this day forward is fault. All of us, mine, yours, Serenity's, Collins, Pelosi's, Biden's, Trump's, Pence's, the guy who sells hot dogs on 11th and Market Street. It's everybody's fucking. We didn't do anything to stop it sooner before it reached this point. That's what I'm mostly.
Because we're not paying attention to who we're voting for. Mm-hmm. We're not paying attention to who we're voting for. We're not educating our kids to know what to look for in the person you're going to vote for. To put your mentors on a pedestal. To make sure that your children have the right mentorship in their lives. So that way they grow up to be good citizens. So that way they help our system work right. And they're not just trying to scam it and get rich off of it. Or help their buddies that are their financial partners that push their agenda and push their campaign. They're getting their pockets sliced and lined real good. Mm-hmm. But what about the normal guys like us that work? We're getting screwed in this process, getting bulldozed right over.
Get
Is that
ready.
right? Is that
Yeah, get ready for.
I applaud and busting there today. I think that shows a lot of guts. I think that's good that somebody finally stood up and said, "Hey, we'll go right to the Capitol and fuck shit up." And here's what one little taste of it. Finally somebody had some balls. Well, good. Maybe it sent a message. Maybe some of them politicians will actually pull their head out of their ass and say, "Hey, the American people mean business." That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I hope so too,
Maybe
but
they should.
I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to. I think it had the
I
opposite effect. I think it showed the politicians on how easily we could be manipulated. Go ahead,
I
Sammy.
hope that I'm wrong about everything because it's only going towards enslavement. And rioters are going to be survivalists soon. And if we allow their agenda and what they say to be the only word of wisdom that we know, then when they blow up the Capitol building and we're all in camps and we have military telling us what we can and can't do, that's when we're to blame because we need to stand up and stand together, whether it be with one political party or another. We need to stand for survival and information. And if we're not getting the right information, how are we going to survive?
Absolutely.
I agree with that because it's been stated a long time ago by many different politicians, and it's something I truly believe in, especially in modern day. There is nobody on this planet, no country on this planet who could ever destroy the United States. China can't do it. Russia can't do it. Ukraine can't do it. If we went to war against every country in the world, if they all banded against the United States, they would lose. We have the strongest military and infrastructure, and even if they're able to get past our military, then they got to deal with 3 billion Americans who are armed and pissed off. Nobody could beat us in a fight. That is a fact. That is a statistical fact. The only thing that could destroy the United States is ourselves. And that's exactly what we're doing.
I I completely do not see a good future with the way that we are being led into what is happening into this world instead of actually being part of this world and what is happening. Because there's a big difference between just being on the planet and doing something while you're on the planet. And right now, they're making sure that everyone doesn't do anything unless it's at home, 6 feet away, and make sure you're on social media, make sure you're watching MSNBC and CNN and Fox. Then they're going to figure out who you like. Under your profile, what do you believe in? And they're going to base everything that they know and to manipulate you because of the information that you're putting out there, not because you're just staying inside. You need to live your life.
Mm-hmm.
Life is scary when they won't let you live.
Look, life is worth living. Your opinion and your vote matter. And the biggest thing on the planet is the United States of America has many different rights, has many different constitutional amendments and everything else that mean a lot of things to a lot of people, some more than others. But honestly, the two most important rights that Americans have above every in this little marble of a world is the First and Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is there to make sure that nobody ever takes away your first. So stop letting them take it. Don't let Silicon Valley censor you. Don't let the mainstream media program you. Have a voice. Have a say. Even if I don't agree with it, even if you don't agree with it, even if she don't agree with it, no matter who doesn't agree with it, you have a right to say what you think. Don't ever let anybody take that away from you. On that note, guys, what do you think? We want to hear what you think because we don't censor here. Let us know in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with the mainstream media? Do you agree? What was your take on yesterday? Because the one thing we can all agree on is it was some historically heinous shit. And it's a black eye on the history of America. It really is. We want to know your opinions. Make sure you comment down below. We will respond to them. Like, share, of course, all that happy stuff. Check out our other podcasts. Into Pits coming relatively soon, Colin.
Yep, should be in a week or so.
All right, cool. And of course, this Sunday, we took a week off last week, but Serenity, Colin, and myself will be returning for Breaking the Fourth Wall Weekly this coming Sunday. So we took a week off for the new year. We probably should have taken longer, but but we're coming back to try to have some jokes and fun and remember what it's like to be just enjoying life. So make sure you join for that. And of course, guys, I'll let you give your final farewells and all that as well. So Serenity, start us off. Say what you want to say as a closing statement.
Well, happy 2021. Bye 2020. Check me out. I have a conspiracy show. I go with Breaking the Fourth Wall, and other than that, can't really find me anywhere.
That is true. Are we sticking with Tinfoil Hat Society as the name? Is that going to be the show name, or have we decided on a name yet?
I
think
I haven't decided on anything.
Okay, well, that's a conspiracy in its own right.
Yeah. Yeah, right on, Serenity. Everybody out there, happy 2021. Bye-bye, 2020. You suck. We're glad you're gone. Hope everybody had a good holiday. Everybody was safe. If you want to get a hold of me or get a hold of Serenity, you can inbox me at colinwashburn@gmail.com. I got Facebook. I got YouTube. I even got a MySpace out there somewhere. If I can remember where in the hell to get into it.
You're still a friend of Tom,
yeah,
right?
Hit us up. Give some likes. Hit that subscribe button.
You're still a friend of Tom, right? On MySpace?
What?
Tom, the creator. He was always everybody's first friend.
I immediately.
And guys, of course.
Play with the creeper.
And of course, guys, you could join me here for any of the breaking the fourth wall entertainment shows. And if you prefer your shows in audio only format, just look up Breaking the Fourth Wall Entertainment on Anchor.fm, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or wherever quality podcasts can be heard. Guys, we also have a Patreon account. We could always use the help. Make sure you're checking us out there, and we get enough supporters in there, we'll start giving supporter-only content. We will start creating shit just for you. So, guys, until then, we'll catch you at the next event, because obviously 7 days into 2021, this is going to be a hell of a ride. Get the popcorn. Have a good night, guys.
See you in a few days.